Mr. Gradwell, all I can see is your head.
Am I there?
Your head, the top of your head. But you are not ready for the nightly news. There you are, much better.
I was aiming high.
Okay, so let me start here. Anything else? Nope. Okay. There. Missing commissioners. Kelly. Hi, David.
Hello.
David, do you have? Wait, hold on. Oh, there's Dave Sargent. Hi, David. Okay, we're starting to fill in. All right.
Good evening, Dave Sargent.
Good morning, Barry Gradwell.
Get a little lower in my chair. There we go. So. Oh, Mr. Cook, you're around here somewhere?
He's not here.
He's here. Do you have weather down in Gloucester like I have up here?
Yes.
Yeah, you do? Okay.
Yeah, the past 5 minutes or so, it's been thundering like crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. So commissioners, I'm going to put the slide deck in the meeting folder, just in the event that you lose me. And I'm going to make Rob a co-host. So you can carry on with the mission. Once I see him.
Can you hear me now, Adrian?
I can hear you, Bill.
Okay.
How's the weather on Wingershik?
Raining, thundering. At least it's not snowing.
I'll take it. Hey, thunderstorms are a sign of warm weather, so I'm all for it. All right,
There's a
upload.
cold front coming in.
Shh.
Yeah, I went up to Bedford last week. Was it, I think Thursday, whatever day we got the snow up there. I went in, I came out from my appointment and had 2 inches of snow in my car.
How could that be? Okay, Mr. Gullah, I see you here. So I do have all commissioners present that I will have tonight. Co-Chairman Gullah, I have made you a co-host because I also have thunderstorms rolling through in the event that I have weather that disrupts the connection. You will be able to hold the meeting. And I also have added the meeting slides to the meeting folder in the Google Drive if you need to access them. So without any further ado, allow me to begin the Wednesday, April 21, 2021 meeting of the Gloucester Conservation Commission. I will begin with a roll call. Commissioner Charpentier is not present tonight. Commissioner Cook,
Here.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Here,
Commissioner Sargent,
Here.
Chairman Gullah,
Here.
and Co-Chairwoman Jackson is also not here tonight. So we are a commission of 4 for your reference. Consistent with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 25 people, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time. Persons who wish to do so are invited to view the meeting at the Zoom link provided at the City of Gloucester's remote meeting website under Conservation Commission, April 21. In the event that a live transmission proves unworkable for any reason, an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the meeting will be made available on the city's website as soon as possible. Before we begin, commissioners, for your reference, in the event that you did not see the revised agenda posted this afternoon, we have several items of business that have requested a continuance to the May 5th meeting. So in continued business, NOI 028XXXX 14 Riverside Road has requested to continue to May 5. NOI 0282760 40 Thurston Point Road has requested to continue to May 5. NOI 0282772 498 Washington Street has requested to continue to May 5. And under new business, NOI 0282774 8 Island Rock Road has requested to continue to May 5. We do have a couple of previously continued items of business. That's the ANRAD 0282765 171 281R Magnolia Avenue, which was previously continued to July 21, and NOI 0282762 652 Essex Avenue, which was previously continued to May 5. Having said that, it will be a pretty quick agenda of all new business items.
Excellent. Thank you, Adrian. First up for tonight's meeting would be administrative briefing. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Adrian?
Yes, back to me. So, news of the week is a reminder to commissioners to tell all of your friends, the City of Gloucester Open Space and Recreation Plan update is going to be seeing its first forum in a virtual format for the open space plan that will be on Monday, next Monday, April 26th. It will begin with about an hour-long live presentation. It is a Zoom recording. You'll be able to view it in your own time afterwards if you don't want to participate live. And it's followed by a survey, an open house survey, to gather some information from every member of the public that we can possibly access in Gloucester, and people who maybe don't live in Gloucester but actually use open space, parks, and recreation areas in Gloucester. It's important that they weigh in as well. So the link for registering is right here. I'll zoom it up real big for you. mapc.ma/Gloucester OSRP. And share with your friends, tell everyone. Hopefully we'll have a really good turnout for that. This will be the first of 2 forums. What happens here is we present what we know and understand about the city of Gloucester from a high level. And at the second forum, we have the opportunity to come back and share what we've learned and talk about action items for the future of Gloucester's open space and recreation areas. So that is the first item in administrative briefings. And then the second, of course, is previously at our last meeting, we had public comment requesting that we include as an administrative item to take up to the city of Gloucester's position on mosquito spraying. Commonwealth of Massachusetts is currently planning to spray the city of Gloucester, and the city council has now requested a comment, an advisory memo from commissioners or the commission as a whole on their position in general. And I will be following up with you commissioners first with information to hear more about this as it's presented before the Board of Health, and drafting a memo for your approval and consideration at our next meeting to then return back to the City Council.
Excellent. Okay, next up would be the public comment review period. This is where people of the public are welcome to speak towards any conservation issues, again, conservation issues that are not on tonight's agenda. So anyone who wishes to speak may do so now. You can do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or tablet.
We have 17 attendees and no one to speak at public comment at this time. Chairman Gullah.
Well, excellent. Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Next up, minutes review and approval. I see nothing's there at this time.
We do have a series of minutes coming down the pike though with my new clerk, and also the city has hired someone separately to record, start drafting minutes from 2020. So do anticipate that for upcoming meeting cycles.
Excellent. And then we're on to continued business. First up is ANRAD 28-2765-1728281 R Magnolia Avenue. Mike DeRosa of DeRosa Environmental representing. They have requested, they've previously continued to July 21st. So we're all set there. Next up would be notice of intent 28-XXXX 14 Riverside Road, William Manuel representative. They were requesting a continuation to May 5th, 2021. So I don't know how you want to do motions tonight, Adrian. Do you want me to just say?
Barry will take them.
Okay. You're up.
NOI 28XXXX 14 Riverside Road. Can we continue this to May 5th?
Second by Bill.
And a roll call. Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
and Chairman Gullah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up is notice of intent 28-2760 40 Thurston Point Road. John Judd of Gateway Consultants representing. They too are requesting a continuation to May 5th, 2021.
Bradwell requests a continuation on this one. NOI 28-2760 40 Thurston Point Road until May 5th.
Cook seconds it.
And a roll call. Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Notice of intent 28-2762 652 Essex Avenue, Hersey, Carl Gardner of the Gardner Company representing. Previously continued to May 5th, so we're all set there. Next up would be notice of intent, 28-2772, 498 Washington Street, Marino. Joel Favazza at Seaside Legal Solutions representing. They are requesting a continuation to May 5th, 2021.
Gradwell suggests we continue NOI 28-2772, 498 Washington Street until May 5th.
Cook seconds it.
And roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
and Co-Chair Mangala.
Yes.
Thank you. I would just like to point out, this is the fastest we have ever moved through continued business. Ever.
All right. Now you jinxed us. We're gonna all fall apart now.
We've been online
Hang in
for
there, gentlemen. Hang in
13
there.
minutes.
up with the
Okay,
first
now the
five
real work.
being RDAs.
The real work, RDA 1689, 63 Rogers Street, Leonard Linquata representing. Applicant and representative, I believe. Is Mr. Linquata available?
You're here.
Hello?
Hold on, let me see. Lenny, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Unmute.
There you go.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, sir, name and address for the record?
Lenny Linquata, 468 Washington Street.
Brief description of the project?
I would like to raise the elevation of the parking lot so that I diminish some of the risk of trip hazards down on the towards the dock.
Okay. Well, we'll go right into public comments. This way we jump ahead a bit here. So anyone on the public who wishes to speak towards the RDA at 63 Rogers Street, you may do so by hitting the raise your hand button or pressing *9 on your cell phone or tablet.
There are no public comments at this time.
Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Okay, Ms. Linquata, it looks pretty straightforward. What's that removed on the drawing? Is
It was a temporary shed that since this plan has been made, there is a dock, a full wharf that's permitted behind it. And we have now placed the structures on the dock right up in here.
Okay, great. Away from the resource, we like that.
Yes.
Excellent. Why don't we do Commissioner? That was my only quick comment. Commissioner comments, Adrian, please.
Sure, for comments, Commissioner Cook,
No comments.
Commissioner Gradwell,
I assume that there's nothing going to be raising the elevation more than a foot.
A foot is about it. And I think it may actually be, in some cases, it's going to be a matter of an inch or two. But
I'm just trying to ascertain there's nothing of any consequence.
no, it's relative. I think the commissioner, Adrian, you've seen the location, have you not?
yeah, I'm very familiar with the site of the Gloucester House.
Okay.
A lot down there.
So there's where the wharf is, where the schooner and the whale watch are. I would like to bring that elevation where I have a set of stairs now, so that it sort of flows from the municipal parking lot in the front of the building, all at about the same elevation. And then I have a storm drain right here that I will raise the elevation up a bit so that we can funnel the water back into that storm drain.
Understood. Okay.
Commissioner Sargent,
I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of sediment barrier or silt sock to prevent things from going into the harbor.
Mr. Linquata, you want to
Yes.
respond to that?
Whatever stipulations you put on, I will obviously follow.
Well, I guess, are you going to open it up to where things could fall in?
No, I'm not going to
You're
open
just
it up at
adding a
all.
layer.
If I can help it, I'm not going to open it up at all.
Okay.
I would like to build right on top of the hot top if we could.
That a silt stock maybe, Dave? Is that what you're thinking?
That would be fine.
I'm sorry.
I was talking to my fellow commissioner. He was
Okay.
thinking, we're thinking about a silt sock around the area to keep debris and construction debris from rolling into the resource during.
This won't even be a one-day project.
Is that true?
It may take a little more than a day, maybe a couple days, but not very long, no.
We'd appreciate you. And it's just a small silt sock or something to keep any debris from rolling into the resource. That's all.
That's fine.
With that, I guess, Adrian, do you have anything to add?
No, I have nothing to add here. This is mostly to try to make the parking lot a little bit more accessible. So it's
Excellent.
the right thing to do.
All right.
Make a motion for RDA 1689 63 Rogers Street for a negative determination.
Do we have to close public comment period first?
Close the hearing. Yep.
Close the hearing on RDA 1689 63 Rogers Street.
Cook seconds?
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwall,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes,
Co-Chair Mangala.
Yes.
Thank you.
and then once again, in RDA 1689 63 Rogers Street, a negative determination.
Cook seconds?
Oh, and a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwall,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
yes,
Chair Mangala.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, next up is RDA 1690 92 Grove Street, Linquata of Hovey Realty Court, Lenny Linquata representing. Are you still here?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. So just for the record, your name and address again, please.
My name is Lenny Linquata. Live at 4 Reef Knot Way, Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Okay, brief description.
What I would like to do is I'd like to build another garage in the particular area, but there's a piece of the garage that gets to the resource area. And but it's the resource area that we're talking about is presently covered with with concrete.
Okay. Again, I'm going to open this up to public comment. Does anybody in the public wish to speak for or against the project at 92 Grove Street? If so, you may do so by hitting the raise your hand button or hitting *9 on your phone or tablet.
There are no comments at this time.
Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Why don't we go into commissioner comments, Adrian? I have
Sure.
none.
Comments from Commissioner Cook.
So you're gonna build another storage unit, correct?
I am, yes.
Okay, where's the drainage and the runoff from the roof going? I don't,
There's a drain right here. And where it says open storage area,
yep,
there's a drain right there.
okay.
Commissioner Gradwall.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're getting some rocking and rolling here too.
Yeah, me too. It really just distracted me, so, okay.
no comment at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Sargent
no comment.
and Chair Mangala.
No comment. I think this is straightforward. It's barely in the buffer. So I have no issues. Anything from you, Adrian, to add?
No, we've looked at this a couple of times actually, and it's not going to impact anything, and it's almost out of the buffer zone itself.
Right. Okay, can we get a motion to close the hearing?
Okay, RDA 1690 92 Grove Street. Let's close the hearing on this.
Cook seconds?
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwall,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes,
Chair Mangala.
Yes.
and a negative determination on RDA 1689 92 Grove Street.
Cook seconds it?
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwall,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
yes,
Chair Mangala.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Next up, RDA 1691 78.
Mr. Linquata, you're all set for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night now. RDA 1691, 76 to 78 Adams Hill Road, Bradley, Wetlands and Land Management representing.
Hi, good evening. I think you might have skipped over one on the agenda there, Harbor Loop.
Nope, that's next.
That's next on our agenda.
Okay, well, perfect. Bill Manuel from Wetlands and Land Management. This is a small landscape project. The owners want to create 4 new landscape beds on their property. It's within about 30 to 40 feet of the top of Coastal Bank, but it all occurs within existing lawn area or already existing landscape area. The reason they want to do this, Adams Hill Road is to the left of the plan, and there is a stairway to the old wharf lot on the right of the plan. That's actually to the deck where, an overlook deck where Adrian was pointing, but that's where she was just last pointing, is the stairway to the old wharf lot. The public is invited to stroll across the property and do so frequently. The owners are want to install these landscape beds to sort of provide a visual prompt or a cue to sort of maintain a respectable distance away from the house and just maintain the owner's privacy. Between the lawn and the top of Coastal Bank, which is at the bottom of the plan, there's about 30 feet wide of just a wild Rosa rugosa area that will not be touched. We're going to bring in collectively about 13 large pieces of granite, either Rockport or Gloucester sourced granite fragments, and create those landscape beds. And then we would like to bring in some older specimen plants that are sourced from a nursery in Wenham, and install those in the newly created landscape beds. We were hoping to do this before these plants break dormancy, so we're hoping that we can get a negative determination tonight so that we could proceed and get those plants sort of dug out, balled, and brought to the site for installation. There's a good aerial view of it. Where the Adrian's cursor is where we suggest a mulch sock along the edge of the grass. The red line is where the top of Coastal Bank is, and you can see that wild brushy area between the two that is going to be untouched. So we're looking for a negative determination.
Excellent, thank you. I'll open up for public comment first. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 76 to 78 Adams Hill Road? You may do so now by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen, or *9 on your phone or tablet.
I see no members of the public to comment at this time.
Excellent. Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Why don't we jump to roll call comments with the commissioners?
Sure. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Cook.
No comments.
Commissioner Gradwell.
I couldn't find anything on here worth commenting negatively.
Commissioner Sargent.
I want to thank the property owners for allowing neighborhood access. It's, too often it doesn't happen nowadays.
Agreed.
Wow, those are great comments. Chairman Gullah.
I have no comment either. I think it's a nice little project. I appreciate the access and the vegetation. So always good to have. So with that, why don't
Do we have
we
a
close the
Motion
hearing?
to close the hearing, RDA 1691, 7678 Adams Hill Road.
Cook seconds.
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell.
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent.
Yes,
Chairman Gullah.
Yes,
Thank you.
and an RDA negative determination for 1691, 76 to 78 Adams Hill Road.
Cook seconds.
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell.
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent.
yes.
Chairman Gullah.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Next up, RDA 1692 23A Harbor Loop, DBA Maritime Gloucester. Michael DeCosta, Executive Director, applicant, and I would assume representative.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You're a little quiet. Can you speak up?
Yes, hi. Thank you. Is that better?
That's much better. Thank
Great.
you.
Yes.
Name and address for the record?
Michael DeCoster from 23 Harbor Loop and live at 28 Rosedale Road in Watertown.
Excellent. Brief description of the project?
We have a second floor walkway that spans, or a second floor non-structural building that spans a walkway underneath. We're looking to close off that walkway and open up those two garage areas for access between the two buildings in a new marine science center for educational programming.
Okay.
All our entire property is within the flood zone, so that's why we're here. And but as you can see, this is all in previously asphalt and cement hardtop space. Because we're going up within the existing footprint, we will. It's non-structural. It's just be a thermal wall, some doorways, and should have very little impact on the area or any of the resource areas.
Okay. I'll open up to the public comments. I didn't do that yet, right?
No, you did not.
Okay, so let's open this up to public comment. Does anybody in the public wish to speak for or against the project at 23A Harbor Loop? You may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or tablet.
There are no comments at this time.
Okay, why don't we move into commissioner comments?
Commissioner comments. Commissioner Cook.
I'm assuming that you're going to have some type of dumpster or something in the area, and that's going to be located out front?
So the dumpster for the construction project would be located, if we can get this done quickly before we open in May, we would probably be putting the dumpster right down next to the project. But if not, we would place it up on the top, yes.
Okay, no matter where you place it, you need to just make sure that it gets covered every night.
Yep. Screen covered.
Excellent.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Gradwell.
No comment?
Commissioner Sargent.
No comment.
Chairman Gullo.
A question more than a comment. Is there going to be any excavation needed, or are you building right on top of the surface?
So we, to make the thermal barrier, we may need to open up a portion of the asphalt. Should be a one-day project to open that up and re-pour. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It might be a couple days because we can't get equipment down there. It's going to be done by hand. So,
Okay,
we plan on refilling right back in, and we'll be putting up the silk sock and everything else to maintain.
Okay, you will be putting up a silt sock, you said?
Yes, we will be.
Okay, good. So management of any kind of loose soils or even asphalt is important in these projects, obviously.
Yes, very much so.
That's it for me. So why don't we move then, if everybody's satisfied, to close the hearing?
We close the hearing for RDA 1692 23A Harbor Loop.
Cook seconds.
And roll call. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell.
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent.
Yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Move to
And move
approve. We need a negative determination, don't we?
yes, we have very negative determination, RDA 1693.
Nope.
1692 23A Harbor Loop.
Cook seconds.
And roll call. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell.
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent.
Yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thanked you too early. I'm sorry, Barry. Cut off your rhythm.
Next up, thank you, sir. You're all set.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Next up, RDA 1693, 5 St. Joseph's Lane, Garcia, Anna Marie Garcia applicant.
Okay.
Anna Marie, I should say.
That's okay.
You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Briefly, your name and address for the record, please.
Anna Maria Garcia, 5 St. Joseph Lane, Gloucester.
And a brief description of what you'd like to do here.
I'm asking if I could remove 2 trees that are against the fence, the back of the fence. Both trees are, one is actually touching the fence and the other is leaning towards it. They are both a part of a group of like 3 stumps of maple. And I'm asking to remove 2 of them.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this area, Adrian, very well. I mean,
It is
Where's the resource?
adjacent to our fellow commissioner over there.
Yes, this is actually in the neighborhood of Commissioner Sharp
She's- I
here.
think it's her next door neighbor.
Yes, no, one house over. Okay.
One house over, yeah.
Is she familiar with what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, then her being familiar with it's enough for me.
well, I guess our typical protocols, well, let me open it up for public comment period. That's our usual steps here. So first up would be is to see if anybody in the public which wishes to speak for or against the project at 5 St. Joseph's Lane. You may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your tablet or phone.
I have no comments at this time.
Okay. All right, with that being said, seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Usually we can go to commissioner roll call comments now, but I just, the only thing I see here is, again, I just don't know the real resource, so it's just that BVW behind, I guess.
Yeah, there's a BVW behind here.
So we tend to ask for tree replacements, or is that not apply here?
You most certainly can in a notice of intent. Typically in RDA, you're making a decision. Yes, you can get a back to recess or no, it doesn't. And the conditions that you attach to it, you don't have the ability to monitor.
Or enforce, right?
Right.
Okay, so open it up for commissioner comments, please.
Sure. Commissioner Cook.
Okay, I guess the first question I have is, you're gonna take the 2 trees down, which is fine. Are you planning on removing the stumps?
I'm not sure. Do you want me to remove them?
It's hard to tell the gradient there, but I know usually we get concerned if there's usually when you see a wetland, there's some sort of roll off down to the wetland. And we're concerned that those banks might erode if you remove the whole stump.
Yeah, I would agree, absolutely agree with that. I would rather do not remove them.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make clear. But if you want to grind them down so they're below the surface, that's fine too, as long as you're not.
Just don't pull them.
Just as long
Yeah.
as you're
No,
not.
they can stay. It's that area is not used. I just don't want the trees to fall on my property.
Understood.
No problem at all. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Gradwell,
No comment.
Commissioner Sargent,
No comment.
Chairman Gullo.
No comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
So-
And we would like to close RDA 1693 5 St. Joseph Lane.
Cook, seconds?
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. You're all set.
Nope,
Thank you.
nope.
Oh, we didn't, I thought we
Have
closed.
to do a negative.
Oh, I thought we
right,
did,
we
sorry.
have a negative RDA 1693 5 St. Joseph Lane.
Cook, seconds?
And a roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes.
Now, thank you.
Sorry about that. You're all set now. Sorry for the hesitation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks, you too.
Next up, notice of intent, 28-2773, 186 Hesperus Avenue, Gordon, Greg Hotchmuth of William and Sparagus, I guess, representing.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greg Hockmuth from Williams and Sparagus, representing the Gordons for the notice of intent filed for their property at 186 Hesperus Ave.
Name and address for the record again, please.
Sure. Greg Hockmuth from Williams and Sparagus, 189 North Main Street, Middleton, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Yep.
Brief description.
Sure. So the property is surrounded by jurisdictional resource areas. The house itself has been there since 1884, according to the assessor's office. It sits right on the bank overlooking the Atlantic. On the other side of Hesperus Ave from the subject parcel is an unnamed perennial stream that flows down from West Pond, I believe. We delineated the mean annual high water associated with that stream, as well as the BVW that parallels it. Both the riverfront area from that stream and the 100-foot buffer zone extend onto this parcel, as well as coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, and the 100-foot buffer from the coastal bank. So long story short, anything they do on this property is within the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. What the Gordons would like to do is there's an existing carport on the north side of the existing dwelling that's butts up against two existing sheds. What they'd like to do is remove most of that carport and construct a garage addition to replace the carport. It's on the outskirts of the riverfront area. It's outside of the 100-foot inner riparian. And the good news, it's all within existing areas that are currently absent of topsoil. So it would be eligible for redevelopment according to 1058. In addition to the proposed garage addition, they're proposing to install a geothermal well system for heating and cooling. We showed two options on this plan. The geothermal company's not quite sure which one makes more sense. It's all going to come down to the location of existing utilities once they start doing the work. It's pretty busy with the current utilities on the property, so it may make sense to actually propose it in option 2, which is out in the front of the house. Again, within existing lawn or landscaped areas, we are proposing erosion controls during construction. They want to put a small greenhouse in the rear of the yard. It's about 14 feet by 18 feet within the existing lawn area. And then a small utility trench would be dug from that greenhouse into the control panel in the basement, just to provide electricity and utilities to that greenhouse. Then there's just some landscaping proposed around the house, a small landscape wall, reworking some of the landscape beds, bringing in a small amount of fill in that area just to kind of level it out. And then there's an existing swimming pool and koi pond. And part of the proposal is just to upgrade those utilities. So we have to do a small utility trench through the existing lawn area down towards the koi pond. We're proposing erosion controls around that. It's too much to do by hand, so we do expect to use a small rubber track mini excavator to do that work. And then following the installation of the utilities, they just restabilize the area with loam and seed and put it back the way it was pre-trenching. We did receive a file number from DEP recently with no comments. The work's not within natural heritage and endangered species mapped habitat. So we're hoping we're in a position that the commission could close the hearing this evening.
Okay. First up, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 186 Hesperus Avenue may do so now by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or tablet.
There are no comments from the public at this time.
Okay. We could probably move to, the only thing I didn't see, and Adrian, maybe I can get some help, did I miss it? is it, we're in Riverfront, are we?
We are. I can try to annotate. Is
I
that
mean,
all-
my first question is, do we need an alternatives analysis?
Oh, okay. So because we're in the redevelopment portion of the Rivers Protection Act, and the fact that we're on the skirts of the buffer zone, there really are no alternatives that would cause less impact than what we're proposing.
Did you write that somewhere, though?
Yeah, well, what did I put in my narrative? Let me take a look.
That's why I didn't see it. That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean, technically an alternatives analysis isn't required under the redevelopment section. If this was, an area that wasn't absent of topsoil, absolutely, we'd have to comply with 1058's requirement for an alternatives analysis. I just put the entirety of the proposed garage is within the footprint of an existing carport and existing gravel parking area / walkway. I suppose we could put something in writing, but the plan.
I would like to see why. I mean, we'll see how it goes with the commission, but in my case, usually we expect something in terms of, even if you're going to say it's redevelopment, why it's redevelopment, or why there's no alternatives analysis needed. Not having any of that kind of leaves us a little concerned, but about what we usually request, that's all. Unless, Adrian, you feel it's unnecessary, I don't have a problem letting it slide.
So he does cover it, I think, in his narrative and discussing.
Okay.
A named perennial stream was located within the BVW described. And it does say the work described above is proposed within the 200-foot riverfront area. However, it's important to note that other than repaving the existing paved driveway, no work is proposed within the inner riparian zone. All of the other activities are either redevelopment within previously developed riverfront area or minor activities as detailed in 310 CMR 10.2 2B2. So I think you're covered on the alternatives analysis.
Okay. That's all I had. Is anyone, you can go to Commissioner roll call comments if you want.
Sure, for comments, Commissioner
Do we
Cook.
want to, on this, have a separate vote on the alternative analysis?
There is none because it is not required for this project. It's redevelopment.
Because that's the part normally I like a little verbiage on it's redevelopment, why, and therefore we don't have to. And I just didn't see, I see a lot of words, but it didn't say exactly that from me, that's all. But we're okay here, Barry. We don't need to go to a separate vote. But did you have any other comments?
From
Commissioner,
Gradwell, I have a number of them.
can I go in order and start with Commissioner Cook, please?
Okay.
Commissioner Cook for comments.
Okay, we're going to replace, if I understand this correctly, we're going to replace the carport with a garage.
That's right.
And
Add a greenhouse
a greenhouse.
with a trench connecting.
All I can see on the print is where the approximate roof supports are for the carport. I don't see where the garage is going to go.
Oh, you might be, are you looking at the plan that's on the screen right now? Because the plan we submitted with our notice of intent has 2 sheets. You may just be looking at the existing conditions plan. If you look at the second sheet, it shows the proposed conditions and it's on the screen right now.
Okay, I was looking at the other one. Okay, so now does the garage extend over to the sheds? The existing carport?
It falls just short of the sheds, and the proposal is to keep, there's currently a roof over those sheds in that portion of the property. And the idea is to keep that portion of the roof over the sheds and attach it to the new proposed garage.
Okay. Yeah, then that's fine. I was just trying to look at it and try to figure out, for new impervious surface, if we have an increase, what it is.
It would be very, very small. We're not outside the existing roof of the carport by much at all. It's maybe a 1.5 feet by 25 feet. And that's over a compact gravel surface already. So infiltration wise, we're not really losing much.
Okay, and the runoff from the garage is just going to go to gutters and it back into the gravel driveway?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, now Commissioner Gradwell.
John was mostly concerned here because it was nothing other than stated that they were proposing ground heat, thermal heating. And the location of the two areas looks like you're going to have to bring in some pretty heavy equipment to drill the size holes through that granite facing right there.
That's right. Yep.
And it doesn't seem to be any access specified or what you're going to do about anything about it other than you're going to drill the wells. There wasn't even a material safety report on the transfer liquid, which is something that we always require.
So so access won't be a problem. It's right off the existing driveway. In fact, one of the locations is within the existing driveway. So they could easily access the sites. And it's my understanding that this is a closed system and that there won't be any discharge of anything into the ground or the environment.
I understand that, but there's a transfer liquid and that liquid should be there's a big difference between methyl glycol and ethyl glycol. And I would like to see the material safety sheet on the material that's going to be used in case there is an accident. I agree that it's a closed loop. That's why they use a transfer liquid.
We'd be happy to provide a material safety sheet to the commission with the specifications that you're looking for.
Anything else, Barry?
No, I did not realize that they were part of the driveway and that the trucks could be driven right in there. So everything's fine if you would supply a
MDS sheet.
Thank you. And it is a very busy plan.
Okay, Commissioner Sargent.
I have to commend my fellow commissioners. They took all my questions.
Well, I'm not done yet, so hold on.
Chairman Gullo.
So we do, I don't know how often you come before this commission, but we like a 2-to-1 mitigation for new impervious. And I don't know if yours offsets in some way, shape or fashion, but in general, at least we would like some plantings offset the proposed greenhouse. For every square foot you create an impervious surface, we tend to like 2-to-1 mitigation to offset your doing that and basically disturbing the environment's ability to allow water to recharge.
I'm sure the Gordons would be more than happy to put some plantings in a location that would be welcomed by the commission. They have a very extensive landscape area around the current dwelling, and they very much like the plantings that are there, and I'm sure we could find a spot that makes sense for everyone.
Okay, and ideally we like them towards the resource. So, planting them upland doesn't really help. We like it down where the resource is, if possible. We're not trying to, but in general, we need to offset that impervious imbalance for the environment.
Understood.
Okay, so with that then, why don't we, there are the two conditions that I have as far as plantings 2-to-1, being near the resource as close as possible. Did we have any other conditions?
Yes.
Oh, the MDS
MSRP.
sheet. The MDS sheet. I don't think we had any other conditions, did we? I think we're good. Okay. So why don't we move with that then, unless someone has a concern, why don't we move to closing the hearing?
On NOI 28-2773, 186 Hesperus Avenue, wish to close the hearing.
Cook seconds.
A roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes,
Chairman Gullo.
Yes.
and we want to close this hearing tonight with just the conditions to be taken care of afterwards? Or do you want to leave it open for a 5-minute spot in 2 weeks?
That's Adrian. Yep,
I
go ahead, Adrian.
I think the applicant can submit a revised plan.
Okay. So you're gonna move to
Positive
approve.
determination on NOI 28-2773, 186 Hesperus Avenue.
What did,
I'm not,
you didn't say a negative determination, did you?
I said positive. I specifically said positive.
How about we just approve it?
Yeah, there we
All
go.
right, we can approve it.
And Cook seconds it.
And roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
yes,
Chairman Gullo.
With discussion that, yeah, we are just looking for the MDS sheet and a planting plan, 2-to-1, closest to the resource. Yes.
Correct, the aforementioned condition.
Yeah. You're all set, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too
Thank
now.
you.
Next up, notice of intent 28-2774, 8 Island Rock Road, Brackpool, William Manuel Wetlands Land Management representing. They want to continue, they're requesting a continuation to May 5th. So move to continue.
close a NOI 28-2774, 8 Island Rock Road, continuation to May 5th.
Cook seconds.
And roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes,
Thanks.
we have to bring a sleeping bag to May 5th, I think. This is
Yeah.
gonna be a long night. Notice of intent 28-2775, 14 Fort Hill Avenue, Tiernan, trustee, and Hayes Engineering, the no name representing.
Good evening, everybody. This is Elizabeth Wallace, wetland scientist at Hayes Engineering, 603 Salem Street, Wakefield, Mass.
Brief description?
If I may, I'd like to share my screen.
I'm sorry, I can only make so many hosts tonight, and I have a project coming shortly after this that have hosts on it. So I do have the slides from your notice of intent submission, and I'm happy to pull over any other pages that you may need if it's not clear enough or if the slides don't cover it.
Okay, great. No problem. Just briefly, this is a single family house lot. There's a house, driveway, wood walkway, and old tennis court in the rear. The Niles Pond Road goes along the rear of the property, and it borders Niles Pond. What the applicant would like to do is do a vegetation management project wherein small trees would be cut right to the ground. We would keep the stump in place, and we'd clip some shrubs and clear out brush piles and any invasive vines if we find them in the area. You can see the area is dashed in red. That's at the rear of the property. Basically, the applicant wishes to maintain the area as a shrub dominated area and have improved view to the pond. Excuse me.
Okay.
Can you switch back to the town map showing the wetlands? So most of the property is within wetlands or the buffer zone. We don't expect to disrupt the soil. Wildlife habitat is going to be slightly improved by opening up that area. A little bit of more sunlight is going to be able to get down into the shrubbery. This is a shrub scrub wetland. You have large shrubs like alder and winterberry and those tall sort of shrubs that are almost trees. So that's a brief description of the project. Access will be gained from the tennis court or Niles Pond Road as needed to take out the clippings. We're going to chop up the trunks so that we can take those out by hand and generally clean up the area. Erosion controls will be put in place along the pond and in areas where it's not too thick to place the erosion controls.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, first up, usually we go to public comments. So anyone in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 14 Fort Hill Avenue, you may do so now by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your tablet or phone.
Chairman Gullah, there are 2 hands up at this time. I'm going to begin with Robert Gordon. I will allow you to talk and ask you to unmute. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Do we have someone to talk?
Well, that was you saying hello. Huh? Let me try.
That was
again.
just me.
Hello, Chairman Gullah.
Hello. Maggie Rosa has her hand raised. Are you
Okay.
click?
We'll go over to Maggie Rosa. I will allow you to talk and ask you to unmute. Go ahead.
So Maggie Rosa, I am Margaret Maggie Rosa, and I live at 26 Fort Hill Avenue. I am not necessarily opposed to this project, but have indeed been very positively impressed by the efforts of our neighbors to clean up their property along Fort Hill Avenue. However, I am concerned that their efforts along the area of Niles Pond Road have not been sensitive to trees and landscape. Trees have been cut down to the 10 to 12 foot level and the detritus left. This just seems to be no sensitivity to the landscaping and the beauty of this area. And I would strongly recommend that any landscaping that can be enforced by the Conservation Commission be as unobtrusive as possible, thereby preserving the beauty of Eastern Point and Niles Pond. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there someone else wanting to speak?
I'm going to try Robert Gordon again.
Okay.
And I'll ask you to unmute.
Hello?
That might be an error. Robert Gordon was 186 Hesper.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. And then in case there was another hand up, Ellie Crocker, you're welcome to raise your hand and speak during public comment if you would like right now. Nope. Okay. No further comments from the public.
Ooh. Okay. Something going on there. With that, then, seeing none, hearing none, a closed public comment period. Why don't we do roll call comments from commissioners, Adrian?
Sure. Commissioner Cook.
Okay. One, I'd actually like to go out and visit this area. But I think we need to see much more detail, a much more detailed plan as far as where and what type of vegetation, trees especially, that you're planning on taking down. I'm not as concerned with the invasives, although I do want to see, is it just going to cut it and you're going to leave the roots there? But I'm very concerned about, taking down the trees and all the brush. I'd like to have you submit a much more detailed plan of exactly what the intent is. And it also, like I said, maybe if the other commissioners, want, we do a site walk. If not, at a minimum, I'd like to see some before pictures provided. Because I'm not comfortable. This is almost like giving it a blank thing to go out and clear cut the area right now. So we need a much more detailed plan, number of trees, types of bushes that you're planning on cutting down, and what you're planning on replacing them with. So that's it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gradwell.
I think that Bill covered it pretty well for me.
Okay. Commissioner Sargent.
Yeah, I also thought that the plan is way too sweeping, and maybe a more limited plan and be more specific on the species of trees or plants that you're planning on removing, rather than just a generalization. We're going to remove some invasives if we do see them, or we're going to cut some trees if we see them, and whatever mitigation and monitoring plan would also have to be part of that vegetative management plan.
And Chairman Gullar.
I would concur with all my fellow commissioners. It just seems a little, there's no edges to it. It seems a little random, and it needs to have more definition. We need to understand what you're removing and why you're removing. And even things, I know you probably know this, you're a wetland scientist yourself, but even a dead log has value in the environment, or a stump or a branch. So my fear is this is on its way to becoming some sort of manicured lawn area to the pond. And that's what I want to see not happen here. So I would leave it that I think we need to continue at a minimum to get more detail on the plan, photos, more details on what's being planted and what's being cut. And ideally, if we could do a site walk, I would also like to do that with the wetland scientist as well, the applicant's representative, if possible. I know in today's COVID era, it's tough, but I would like to see if we could work that in somehow. That's it for me.
Can you just raise your hand if you would like to attend a site visit between now and the next hearing? Chairman Gullah, everybody, you gotta go up a little higher, closer to your head if you move.
Anyone got their hand up to go?
Yeah, Chairman Gullah and Commissioner Cook for a site visit. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll be in touch about that tomorrow.
So with that, I think we're gonna have to continue this. And you'll work with the agent, if yourself or another representative, to get us that information, and ideally a site walk, that'd be great.
Yes, I will. How much in advance do you need additional information?
Excuse me, say that again?
how much in advance, how many? Well,
I think I know what your question is. The continued business, the continued business deadline is the Thursday before the meeting. So the upcoming meeting will be the 19th. The Thursday beforehand will be the 12th, thereabout, or the 13th.
okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you for your time. So we're gonna move to continue the project at 14 Hill, Barry?
Yes,
What date?
continue, what date do we want to pick up on this? Want 4 weeks?
When the next one's May 5th, the applicant can request a May 5th hearing, or the one after that, which would be what, May
19th.
19th.
19.
You have a choice.
Let's make it May 5th and we'll see how we can progress on this.
Okay,
I can always ask for a continuance if we have delays.
okay.
On
That's
project 28-277514 Fort Hill Avenue, continuation until May 5th, 2021.
Cook seconds.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullo.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Next up, notice of intent 28-2776, 11 Webster Street, City of Gloucester, LEC Environmental Consultants representing.
Okay.
Great. Go for it, John.
Okay, thank you. This is,
Name and address for the record, sir?
my name is Jonathan Pope. I live at 16 Marble Street. I am the chairman of the East Gloucester Veterans Memorial School Building Committee, and I'm also the chairman of the Gloucester School Committee. And I'm joined tonight by representatives from three of our consultants, Doran Whittier, our architect designers, Niche Environment Engineering, and LEC Environmental. The last time I appeared before you was in 2015, and we were talking about the Pines, and that was how long ago we started this project, looking for space to build a consolidated school to build East Gloucester, to merge East Gloucester and Veterans School. We have come through a long process, and we are moving forward now with support from the community, with the debt exclusion override, as well as a substantial support from MSBA. And we're here tonight to explain the environmental impacts of our project, and I will hand it over to Michelle Rogers from Doran Whittier.
Thank you, John. I'm actually going to hand it over to Josh Shores from Niche Engineering to share his screen and walk us through the process here.
Great, thank you, Michelle. Again, this is Joshua Soares, project manager with Niche Engineering, the project civil engineer. Adrian, I'm gonna just share my screen. And if someone could just let me know if you can see that, then we can proceed. Okay,
What do you
great.
want me to see? I see Mattos Field.
Yep, this is perfect. So we'll start with a high level overview. Unfortunately, our wetland scientist is tied up with other Concom hearings tonight, so I'll do my best to describe the wetland resource area. So tonight we're on behalf of the City of Gloucester Public School System. We are here for the NOI application for the redevelopment of the existing Veterans Memorial School site located at 11 Webster Street. The bordering vegetated wetland is located along the northwestern corner of Matos Field by the bleachers. The existing site is comprised of the school building and associated driveways, parking areas, walkways, play spaces, and the ball field. The topography of the site includes steep slopes on the northeast and northwest corners of the site that drain to the field and across the site to an existing discharge. The linear bordering vegetated wetland, and let me actually just go to the existing conditions plan. You can see it here located to the northwest of Mados Field. It's a bordering vegetated wetland, and portions of the redevelopment extend within the buffer zone associated with this BVW. The BVW it basically exists due to what can be described as just groundwater seepage within this area due to the high groundwater, and also in addition to the stormwater runoff from the steep slopes located to the northwest. The project includes a stormwater management system, which has been designed to comply with the requirements of the City of Gloucester and the Mass DEP stormwater management standards. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to the project engineer, Paige Simmons, with Niche Engineering, to just further describe the existing conditions and the proposed stormwater management system.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paige Simmons. I'm with Niche Engineering. I'm the project engineer on the project. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of the existing and proposed drainage, as well as some of the erosion control measures that we have planned at the site. So the existing site is 5.47 acres. And as Josh mentioned, there's a steep slope on the north and west portion of the site. So in the existing condition, there is a closed drainage network with a system of catch basins and 24-inch pipes that capture the water at the toe of the slope and direct the water down to the east portion of the site and actually through the existing building to an existing 30 by 30-inch stone culvert at the eastern edge of the site. And throughout the site, there's an array of other catch basins that capture water and tie into this system. And then along Webster Street, there's an additional closed drainage system that runs from west to east and then crosses through our site and connects to the same 30-inch culvert on the east portion of the site where the water discharges. And there are currently no peak flow attenuation measures, and there's no water quality treatment. There's also no groundwater recharge proposed on or existing on the current site. And the soils have been designated as sea soils. And there was also a geotechnical investigation which found that groundwater ranges from elevation 42 to 39, which is relatively shallow, and flows are in travels, I guess the depth ranges west to east, mimicking the topography of the site. So I think that's it for the existing conditions. Now for the proposed conditions, we are proposing a 24-inch pipe along the toe of the slope to carry the water around the site to the existing 30-inch culvert that will be maintained. So this is to mimic the way the site functions currently. And then throughout the site, there's a network of catch basins and area drains which capture the water throughout the site and direct it to 3 systems. The first system is to the north on the site is a subsurface detention system 1, as Josh is pointing out there. And then on the south portion of the site, there is subsurface detention system 2. And then in the center of the site, in the middle of the parking area, there is a surface infiltration basin located at surface level. So the 2 detention systems are a chamber and stone system that are intended to be lined. And this is due to the proximity to groundwater. We do not want infiltration because of the elevation of groundwater at these 2 locations. At the center of the site, the infiltration basin is intended to infiltrate the required recharge volume per the Mass DEP requirements and does have the appropriate separation to groundwater. And then throughout the site, there are, also the basin will draw down within 72 hours as required per the Mass DEP standards. And then throughout the site, there are water quality inlets as well as water quality structures, which will capture the required water quality volume, which is a ½ inch over the impervious area of the site. Lastly, all 3 of these systems will overflow to the existing culvert at the east portion of the site. And we do reduce rates for the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storm. And then if Josh, if you want to zoom into the small parking lot at the south, we do have a standalone parking lot here, which will connect into the pipe which traverses across the site to the culvert to mimic the existing condition. So the general drainage pattern does follow the existing condition. And as Josh, where he has his mouse now, there is a new curb line proposed to extend the turning lane. And so we have to relocate one catch basin to properly align with the curb. Additionally, all of the pipes on the site are sized to handle the 25-year storm. And in conclusion, we are not impacting the wetlands and we meet all of the required Mass DEP stormwater requirements.
Okay, thank you. So usually, oh, go ahead.
Would you like me to run through the erosion controls briefly?
Sure.
So first here we have the temporary erosion control plan. So proposed, we have temporary drainage swales, which you can see running mainly along the toes of all the slopes to capture any water that would be coming down. And all of these swales are directed to sediment traps, and the sediment traps are sized to handle the 10-year storm event. And at the 10-year storm event volume, there's an overflow, which will connect to some pipes that will be installed permanently and other pipes which are just temporary pipes to divert the water. And this water will then be directed to that same 30 by 30 inch stone culvert. And then additionally, we have inlet protection, sediment traps, inlet protection, what are the stabilized construction entrances, sorry, I couldn't think of that word for a second. The stabilized construction entrances to prevent offsite tracking. We have the erosion control barrier at the low end of the site to prevent any sediment from flowing off site. And I believe that's it for the temporary condition. And then for the final or secondary erosion controls, it's generally the same procedures, just we have the inlet protection with the addition of the steep slope stabilization to prevent any erosion at the steeper slopes. And we still have the construction entrances as well as the erosion control barrier. And I believe that is all. So we open up the floor to questions now.
So the next step would be for us to move to the public comment period, unless Adrian, we don't want to have, we're not, I'll go to public comment. That's okay, correct?
Yep, absolutely. As
Okay.
long as the applicant has finished their presentation and we all have the information that we need. Everybody else set?
Yeah.
Okay, so with
And
that
we
then-
understand that the project will be peer reviewed as well. So we open the door for some questions, initial questions from the commission and from the public at this time.
Okay, so I'm going to open this up for public comments. We have about 30 people, not 30 people, but a few people obviously want to talk about this project. Whoever does, we have a 3-minute time. I'll be taking, watching the clock. So it's 3 minutes per public or any person who wants to speak. And we'd like to keep it limited to the issue here. It's a very small area jurisdiction for us, so we don't want it going off onto a lot of tangents. So with that, I'll open up for public comment. You can do that by raising your hand with the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen, or you may use the *9 on your phone or tablet.
Okay, there are 4 hands up at this time. I'm going to begin with Olympia 57 at comcast.net. First, I will allow you to talk and ask you to unmute.
Hi, can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yep, name and address of the record, please.
Sure. Olympia Palazzola, 57 Western Avenue, Gloucester, Mass. I'm going to speak for a couple of reasons. One of them is because my sister-in-law is the direct property across the street from the school, and also the house directly to the, if you're looking at the school, to the left of the school. She owns both properties, and they're in their high 80s and they're not in good health. So first of all, I didn't hear them mention the brook, or whether it was called a stream, that drains from the back of her property at 25 Webster Street, and how they collect that water. I didn't hear them say that. And that's the main reason why they would always flood that property in the winter for ice skating years ago. So, so that's the first thing. The second thing that I want to mention too is that they talked about sediment traps, and I was told there were going to be retention ponds on the property to catch all of this. I spoke to someone from a retention pond company who, when I told them it was at a school property, they said they should never have retention ponds at a school property. So then they changed them into these little culvert things that you can lift a cover off of. And there's water inside of them. They're pretty deep. They have them over at West Parish. And somebody was there and the cover was lifted. A child could get into that and there was water in there. So these are my concerns about the drainage systems. And I'm not so sure, I didn't realize that all the drainage is going to be big pipes underneath the building itself. Does that create any problem at all as far as ever having to maintain any of that that drainage that they're expecting to go through? The biggest, I don't know if it's called a retention pond or what it's called, but is that one that looks like a smiley face at the far end of the property? I'm sorry, when I put in the unmute, it covered some of the screen, so I can't get out of it to actually show you where I'm talking about. But that area there was always supposed to be a retention pond. And my thing is, are they going to be these little culvert things with manhole covers, or is that going to be filled with water? If it's something that's going to have water in it, it's very dangerous for children. And they're also talking about the drainage leaving the property at the far end. And where does that drain? Yeah, right there. Yes, I can see you. At that far end, where does that drain to? Does that go underneath Eastern Avenue into the area that goes straight down across the extension of the highway? Where does that end up going? Where's all that water going to flow to if it needs to be flowing down there? Anyway, I probably have my 3 minutes up, but those are my big questions. We're really worried about this. The property is all taken up by a school. And I know that's not your purview. Yours is more about the water content. And they didn't mention the brook or the stream. I don't know what they called it, but can you explain a lot of that?
Sure, and thank you for your comments. We'll start with your initial comment regarding the existing stream. So what you see here on the screen, the existing stream.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Suarez. We are going to have to collect all of the comments from everybody in public comment. Please make notes, and then you can certainly communicate back in response to public comment. And then you'll also, after we go through commissioner comments, have the opportunity to comment back, and also the opportunity to say, we'll follow up in the next hearing on some of these. Whatever it is you're replying to, I would recommend you also submit in writing as part of a support material packet. I didn't mean to cut you off like that, but I want to move through public comment period as quickly as we can.
Correct. So who's next?
Understood, thank you.
Okay, Frederick Geisel.
Hello, Fred.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Name and address for the record, please.
I'm sorry?
Name and address for the record.
Frederick Geisel, 15 Steep Hill Drive in Gloucester. I'm a registered professional civil engineer living in Gloucester. I have a couple of questions regarding the drainage. I just received the packet of information, notice of intent, plans, and stormwater management plan today. Unfortunately, I was not able to download the stormwater management plan until just before this meeting because of some technical glitch. But I did have a question. The stormwater management plan uses little over 8 acres for analysis of the site. And I don't see in the report any delineation of the area that's in consideration for the 8 acres. The site being used here, as referred to earlier, is around 5.5 acres, 5.7 acres, something like that. I also don't find where the Webster Street drainage is connected into the system. It may be, I don't see where that is connected in. The last I had to mirror the comments from the previous caller, to having an open pond on the site is, I think, a poor use of the limited green area or open area on this site. And I think that you should reconsider putting in some sort of underground infiltrators, could act as infiltration, but be a covered area with green space that kids could use. And those are basically, I haven't had a chance to go through the stormwater management plan in detail, but those are my initial preliminary comments. I would hope this would be continued to a next meeting and have time to review what's in the reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
That was just inside of 3 minutes. Well done.
Yes.
Okay, and then the third hand that is up is Patty Amaral. I'm going to allow you to talk and ask you to unmute. Go ahead, Patty, you have the floor.
I'm done.
Hello?
I just made my comments.
Hello?
Yeah?
Hi, Patty.
Name and
Hello.
address for the record?
Patty Amaral, 14 Myrtle Square, Gloucester, Mass.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for letting me speak.
sure.
I would like to remind the commission that there is no financial pressure to go along with our city's plan to build within the wetland buffer zone. Our city doesn't have any promises from the MSBA for this project as of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else, Adrian?
That is all for public comment, it appears.
All right. Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period for tonight. I don't know how you want to go forward, Adrian. Do you want to do some, let them respond? Do we want to move to?
Sure, so to the applicant's representative, hold on one moment. To the applicant's representative, if you would like, we can go through commissioner comments and you can respond to public comment and commissioner comments all together. You can hold what you think you can't respond to during the hearing tonight, understanding that there's going to be a little bit more of a workup on this project and certainly some written support material that answers these questions as well. So it is at your pleasure as the applicant how you would like to proceed, just as long as we take it in groups. So we're not doing a back and forth.
Yeah, I think we should follow the procedures with the public comment where we can take the questions and comments now and jot them down, and then we can provide a formal response in writing.
Okay. Excellent. So let's move through commissioner comments. Commissioner Cook.
I'd really like to just wait because I did not get to see any of this and there's so much there. I'd like the opportunity to review it, but none of it was in the folder, so I couldn't. I think at this point in time, it's just too much there to speak to.
Okay. Commissioner Gradwell.
Same thing. I had no opportunity to review anything on here. Nothing was on the weekend when I was on.
Okay. Commissioner Sargent.
Yeah, again, I didn't have those, but so I couldn't review how much of the BVW is going to be altered and how much area is going to be restored and mitigated. I'm not sure of the species that are proposed to be eradicated, but I was able to note that next to the linear BVW, there was a fair amount of redoxamorphic features found within the C horizon, suggesting that A and BW horizons were stripped out sometime in the past. This does suggest that there's a good potential for a wetland restoration project, perhaps assisting with mitigation as well as providing an outdoor classroom. I'm wondering if there's any increased impervious surface in the buffer zone. And I'm also wondering about the infiltration systems. If you've done any deep holes to make sure that there's the 2 feet separation from seasonally high groundwater from the bottom of those systems. With groundwater that high, you may have to raise a lot of that property. And I'm wondering what the O&M is for these stormwater detention systems. And I know that there's supposed to be significant improvements in stormwater discharge, and I'm not sure it's germane, but I'm fairly certain that the drainage doesn't discharge to Gloucester Harbor. Drainage from the site historically discharged to a 4-foot culvert located at the intersection of Route 128 and Eastern Avenue near Neptune Place, then to an area sometimes known as Gardner's Brook that runs parallel to Bass Avenue, and then to Good Harbor Beach. For reference, you can look up a CZM funded study of non-point source pollution to Good Harbor Beach, or look at historic maps that show drainage from Webster's Pond. This project might be wonderful, but I can't really tell now because I didn't have enough information to look at. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Sargent. And finally, Chairman Gullah.
I believe Mr. Sargent covered all my comments and similar with my fellow commissioners. So I will kick it to you, Adrian.
Sure. Okay. So I have had the opportunity to review these plans a couple of times, and we've had a few technical meetings inside of the city. Myself, the planning director, city engineer, and some other members of the inspectional services process have all agreed that the most appropriate thing to do here would be to move this project for third-party review with an outside consulting firm. The reason for that is that while the jurisdictional scope for this project under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Gloucester Wetlands Ordinance is actually fairly limited, considering what we do often see here, we are subject to the regulatory review of the DEP stormwater standards. And typically, the city of Gloucester is lucky enough to have an engineering department that will handle a review under DEP stormwater standards. However, in this case, the city of Gloucester is also the applicant. So in an effort to protect both the applicant and the engineering department, and through the Conservation Commission, the ethically appropriate thing to do here is to take this out of house to a third-party review that is operating with the interests of the commission in mind. And the commission here is the freestanding body that is charged with reviewing the project according to the performance standards set forth by federal, state, and local regulations. So with that, I would like to recommend a motion to you, and that will be a motion to approve a contract for third-party review under the Wetlands Protection Act, the Gloucester Wetlands Ordinance, and DEP stormwater standards to represent the interests of the Conservation Commission.
Barry, you want to move that? Or?
All moves it that we consider that and continue on for 282776 11 Webster Street.
And to the applicant's representative, would you like to continue to May 5 or May 19?
I would assume, based on the scope of the project in the timeline, that I can't imagine that the third-party reviewer would have enough time to review and provide comments and have us also respond to those comments and resubmit. So I think moving forward with the 19th makes the most sense.
Okay. So at a minimum, we'll see an update and comments back, not only to the public comment period this evening, also commissioner comments, and ideally a call and response with third-party review for May 19.
On 28-2776 11 Webster Street, if a proposal for a continuance until May 19th, 2021.
Cook seconds.
Any roll call? Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullah.
Yes, and then a little shout out to the public. If you have any comments and you want to put them in writing to the agent, that is always the best vehicle to do so.
Okay, everyone.
Okay,
Okay. should
you're
we
all
make
set
a
for
motion?
tonight.
Rob, should we approve Adrian's motion to go to third-party review?
I think we just did, we just did the continuance. Do we have to do that? What do you think, Adrian?
I would like you to approve that motion, yes.
Okay,
we have a approval of seeking third-party input on 28-2776 11 Webster Street.
Cook seconds.
And roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes,
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
and Chairman Gullah.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
As we will be in touch with third party.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, next up.
Can I, before we go on, can I ask Adrian one question? I'm in Zoom and I somehow can only see people. I can't see your screen now. How do I?
Yes.
That's right. It's not you, it's me. I had given.
he
the
has it set
screen-
up that way, but
I gave the screen over to the applicant's representative so he could manage the presentation.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
now we're back to my landing slide and can
Okay.
move on. But I didn't want to make the change while we were having discussion because I thought it might be destructive.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, notice of intent, 28- no DP number 12 Mount Locust Lane, David Kelly, PE, and Meridian Associates representing.
Sir, you are muted.
My microphone is on my head. Sorry. David Kelly with Meridian Associates, 500 Cummings Center, Beverly, Mass. I personally am a Gloucester resident myself. This project at 12 Mount Locust, it's about an 1.5 acre parcel. There's an existing single family dwelling with a small deck / porch on the left corner of the house with some fire pit and some landscaping done adjacent to the house, some stone walkways. And the applicant is seeking to extend the deck around the left side of the house up at the 2nd story level and install 3 or 4 footings in an existing area that's disturbed and a small knee wall, like in foot and a half tall, to enclose the existing mechanicals that are there. There's a generator, a couple of AC units, etc. And then just some slight modification to some of the landscape, walkway stones and things of the sort just to fit the new deck. There's no alteration to the land other than the actual installation for the footings. And it's all contained in that little red highlighted area where it's about 425 square feet for the whole deck, but just the footings themselves are just a few square feet. The project is located above the coastal bank elevation. We provided a cross section to depict that as well. Yeah, so right there you can see those row of French doors, and there's a small little walk around deck, and they just basically got to bump that out and put some footings around that white fence at the bottom.
Okay. I'll open up for public comment. Does anybody in the public wish to speak for or against the project at 12 Mount Locust Lane? If you do, you may do so by pressing the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or using *9 on your phone or tablet. I see somebody's.
I do have 2 hands up. One is Olympia57 at Comcast.net. I don't know if you just didn't lower your hand, but here we go. I'll ask you to unmute and see if you're still here on the call.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
I am on the call. It has nothing to do with this. I just wanted to make one more comment about the school process.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not.
We close the public hearing.
No, it's not about that. it's about the hearing itself. I just found out about this 2 hours before your meeting. And I look on the city website all the time and didn't see your agenda. And somebody finally told me about it. So that's the only reason I raised my hand again, was that the agenda came out so late. It was very, very hard for me to even speak because I had nothing planned. So I wish that the agenda was out, and I wish that that was on there. And I apologize for butting in on this. Thank you.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this item was posted on the agenda on Friday afternoon. Conservation Commission agenda is typically posted on Friday at noon before the Wednesday meeting. And in addition to that, all abutters have been notified. And the legal notice is run out of the Conservation Office more than 7 days in advance of the hearing. So all of the appropriate open meeting law notifications were.
No, I apologize. I didn't see it. I looked, I didn't find the agenda. Maybe I was in the
Okay.
wrong spot. Thank you anyway.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Okay, Marion Marcetta, I'm going to allow you to talk and ask you to unmute. Go ahead.
Marion Marcetta, 8
Your
Mount
address,
Locust,
please?
8 Mount Locust Place.
Your
Gloucester.
comment?
I have a question to begin with. This property is within the buffer zone, and I do not know what the regulations are for buffer zones. Is somebody allowed to build in a buffer zone?
Yes, you can, you can build in a buffer zone. That's why they're before us. When you're in a buffer zone, you're required to go to your local municipality or the Conservation Commission to request a hearing to see if this project, or projects in some cases, it affects the resource. So you have your resource, and then there's the edge of the resource, there's normally an 100-foot buffer, and it's being shown right now in the drawings. So if you are in that buffer, it doesn't mean you're not going to be stopped from a project. We just have to see that the project will not impact the resource area. So you can build it in a buffer zone.
What is the definition of resource?
Well, that's a bit longer. We haven't got enough time, but the bottom line is anything that can basically water. Water is one aspect of it. Hydraulic soils, obviously rivers and streams have buffer zones. BV bordering vegetated wetlands. So there's a whole slew of them, but this particular
In the ocean.
is the ocean.
Does it matter that this house floods already?
It's not we're supposed to look at the project at hand. We don't look at what else is going on in terms of, they should put a flood line on there, which they have. They have top of coastal bank. So we have the information we need to review, but to repeat, the ocean is the resource and the project isn't buffer to the resource. So we want to see, is this project going to affect the ocean, basically?
It will affect me. I share this border between 12 and 8. And this property is being extended. So the footprint is getting larger, and it potentially is a problem for my privacy. I have a very narrow piece of land that allows me access to the ocean. Because of the topography of my lot, I have only this maybe 25-foot wide area that allows me to go to the ocean. And this deck faces my property and will jeopardize the privacy that I have on this very narrow strip facing the ocean.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but you may want to check with zoning to see if there's any kind of buffer zoning issues. But this is the Conservation Commission here. We're only looking at, will this small addition, and it looks pretty small compared to what we viewed tonight, has any, it's being constructed, would it have any impact on the resource? Do you have
Well,
any comments as it relates to that?
Well, I wonder if any construction can destabilize my land.
You would have to probably hire an engineer to determine that. I would doubt this is going to rise to that level, but you are welcome to get an engineer. You're also welcome to appeal this project. You don't, everyone has that right as well during this process. But to me, it seems pretty de minimis and therefore probably not going to impact the resource too much.
I don't know the precise dimensions of this expansion.
Mhm.
He said slight. What does slight mean?
Well, I would recommend then, these are public files. You can get the files from the city. We're not going to get here and determine all your measurements for you. Again, we're a conservation commission. We're not into zoning or sizing, or we're looking at a volume and we're judging it. But it doesn't look to be, to me, it looks to be about 10 feet projection on the curve at the most, but it doesn't look to be that much bigger than that. And again, it's on their property. So your only access option would be is to check the zoning to see if it exceeded the zoning setback, which I doubt, but it might have.
So this means that I can build on what might be the buffer zone. I don't know if I have one also.
Correct. You probably do have a buffer zone, but you're not planning, well, you're not asking to build anything.
Yes, but if I should,
Sure.
what do I? Then I am allowed to build, providing I have permission from conservation?
Correct. If you were to do a project on your property and it was in the buffer zone, you would have to come before us and ask our permission.
Okay.
Not our permission per se, agreement that the board would say that it does not impact the resource.
Where does the 100-foot dimension begin?
Coastal Bank, it's another long story that we really don't have time for now, but you can see it on
Okay.
this draw. Are you looking at the drawing right now?
Yes.
So if the agents see that line, she's dragging her arrow
Yeah.
down, that's
Yeah.
Coastal Bank. So 100 feet off that coastal bank, you can see it. Now she'll show you the bank. There's the buffer zone line. So everything between those two lines is our jurisdiction.
Okay, so the line stops on my property.
Correct.
So that is probably just the rocks then that are at the top of my,
No, the line doesn't stop. The line stops because we're only looking at that one piece.
I
They
see.
can't come onto your property, so they,
I see, I see. So that's going to be extending on.
yeah.
The name on this is incorrect. It's listed as Christine Maney. That's incorrect.
Okay.
I just want that clarified.
Okay.
Well, I object to it, so I have no recourse, is what you're saying.
You do have recourse. You can't appeal this.
What does appeal mean?
It means you appeal the decision of the Conservation Commission as it relates to this project to the DEP.
Do you want to appeal it, Colin? And must I do that now, or can I?
No, you have you have to actually wait till the order is issued, and then there'll be an appeal period, of which time you will be able to appeal it.
Okay, fine. I will think about that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
No other comments at this time.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Might as well do roll call, commissioner vote, questions.
Comments from commissioners. Commissioner Cook.
Okay, I just want to clarify, the deck that you're adding doesn't have a roof on it, correct?
Correct.
So in the spacing between the boards?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be considered pervious.
Pervious.
Okay, no, I don't see any problem with it.
Okay, Commissioner Gradwell,
No comment.
Commissioner Sargent.
You said you were going to be enclosing some mechanical things. Are you creating any impervious surface at all with this project?
No. Unless you count a 12-inch wide knee wall, that's going to be a little decorative knee wall that's over an area that's currently landscaped with stones and things of the sort.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Gullah.
Again, it's borderline, but we have in the past requested, at least for the large piers and posts, to have some mitigation. Every time you add impervious and that wall is technically impervious and the footings are impervious, we do look for a little bit of planting to offset that inability to allow the nature when it rains to recharge into the ground. So if you could do a little, it looks like there's some landscaping about here anyways. If they could add a little bit more of that to your plan, a few plantings to offset that loss, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely, the whole intent is to beautify that whole side of the house. So I'm not privy to any landscaping plans, but if you look at the architectural plans that were submitted, you can see the level of detail that they've gone through in preparing those plans. So adding some additional shrubs and maybe a small tree, I wouldn't foresee that being an issue at all.
That'd be excellent. Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? Adrian?
No, I have nothing to add except that this project actually does not appear on the DEP dashboard. Let alone not have a number. So I don't know why that is. And I can check in with the circuit rider unless Mr. Kelly, you have an answer to that question. But I mean, no matter what, we'll have to continue the hearing tonight. Unless this is ordinance only, but no, it's not. We're in buffer zone. So
Yeah, we did. No DEP number either, so we have to continue.
Yeah, it's not on the dashboard and there's no number. So
yeah, I do have both green cards back from both DEP offices, so they have received it.
Okay, good.
All right, well, we can take it to May 5th, and if you can submit an updated plan with some plantings, I think we'll be looking for a number.
All right.
So we're
continuation till the 5th or the 19th?
The 5th.
5th it is.
Okay, on 28-XXXX, 12 Mount Locust Lane, continuation to May 5th, 2021.
Cook seconds.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Chairman Gullah.
With discussion, you may want to have a chat with your neighbor, or you may want to talk to your applicant about it, just before things get finalized. You may want to have a chat. Yep. With that, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Next up, do we have anything under other commission business? Are we good?
No, oddly, we had a whole slew of people requesting extension permits and then they stopped.
They all ran away. We scared them away.
Well, they have, permits don't expire currently under the state of emergency. And when the state of emergency is lifted, they will have a 45-day tolling period to extend their permit. And I think that will be the time that we get crushed with extensions.
I see.
From 2017. We'll see.
Okay. All right, so we're up to RCOC 28-892 554 Washington Street, McCarthy. Do you want me to just go through these and we'll vote on them en masse?
Yep, we can do them all at once. I've been to Wyoma, and then the other two are, from the 80s.
Okay. Do you want to move these, Barry? You want me to take care of it for now?
No, I can move it.
Okay.
On RCOC 28-892, 554 Washington Street, 28-869, 130 Esperance Avenue, 28-2677, 29 Wyoma Road, that we accept the request for
approval.
Cook seconds.
And roll call, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
and Chairman Gullah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Finally, no other matters.
All right, bring a sleeping bag for May 5th. Oh, God.
Yeah, May 5th is going to be very long. We have already closed that agenda. There will be 10 new hearings.
Ooh.
There will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 continued business hearings. So,
Okay.
ready.
Anything to add, Adrian, before we move to adjourn?
Gradwell would like to ask the condition of our two lady counselors if everything is all right and it's just temporary.
Well, Linda supposedly, she texted me and said she actually got COVID She is on the way out. She's doing okay, I guess. And I don't know what she said to you, Adrian, but she seems to be getting through it.
She is feeling much better. She said she didn't really have the stamina for a 3-hour meeting tonight, but she's doing much better.
And Joe is on a plane.
And Joe is on a plane. She's flying home.
So they should be able to be back for the.
I'm just making sure that everybody's in reasonable health. That's all.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You're in good working order. Thank
Hey,
you.
Adrian, when do you think you will have these available for signing?
I am going to try to drive down tomorrow. And I will come with signature pages. So
You're gonna leave
Monday,
them at,
I'll tell you what, Monday at the latest.
okay. You're gonna leave them at the office though, not,
No, I'll leave them downstairs in the lobby.
yeah, exactly, okay.
Yeah.
You may have said drive down. I thought you were gonna do house to house.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want me to, I can. But
No, unless it was a,
the good old days, early COVID days.
yeah, exactly. Buzzing around town getting signatures, always fun. Okay.
The kids enjoyed showing up at Gladwell's house because it was always chocolate.
Yeah, they got the candy out of the deal, so they were happy, right? It works for them.
All right, who wants to move to adjourn?
I think it's Dave Sargent's turn.
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Bill,
Okay. Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gradwell.
Yes, because if he votes no, it won't be a quorum.
Commissioner Sargent
Yes.
and Chairman Gillen.
yes.
Thank you, everyone tonight. And
Thank you, Adrian.
All right, guys, be well. Thank you, Adrian, for everything.
Yep.
Be safe.
Yeah, you too. Everybody be safe and be careful.
You sent the kids back to school for 1 week, then they sent the kids back to you.
And I sent them back to me and it's so much worse. It's like back to day one. All bets are off. It doesn't matter how hard I worked on the routine. So we got through it. We're getting through it. So I'm over the hump.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you soon.